Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at Deja Vu, a magazine-sized comic published in 1982 by Fantico, the little publisher from Albany, New York. I have a definite fondness for Fantico. They didn't put out a lot, but it's amazing the stuff they put out. Really good stuff. And I think they still are around in some form today. I don't really think they publish comics per se, but they did that trading card set we looked at a little while back of the Erie Publications, the trading cards that did all the covers, showed off all the covers. So they're still around in some manner, and they still might have their brick and mortar store because that's how they started. I went to it. I was a student at the SUNY Albany, and I remember going to the Fantico comic store. I was too shy to talk to anyone, but I grew up loving Fantico, so that was kind of fun. So this is a really nice comic where it's just reprints all of this rarely seen, hard to find stuff from Jeffery-Catherine Jones, Michael Kaluta, and Berni Wrightson. And a lot of their stuff, most of this was published in fanzines. So it's just a great little collection, especially in 1982, where a lot of this stuff wasn't reprinted anywhere. So it was I remember picking this up. I think I picked this up back then, and as a kid, none of these guys were working in comics anymore. They were doing portfolios and books. So to get a quote unquote new comic off the racks with all these three great artists, it was quite a mitzvah, if you will. So we start off with a Berni Wrightson cover. This is reprinted from, it's a long title, From Ghoulies and Ghosties, Long-Leggedy Beasties, and Things That Go Bump in the Night. May the good Lord deliver us. And this was a limited edition photo print released in 1978. So unless you happen to have that very limited, print, they probably put out 500 of them, maybe 1,000. You never would have seen this. I'm always amazed why more people don't reprint those great portfolios, or just use them for covers. If you're going to put out a magazine, there's so much great stuff that, it's just in a portfolio that had 500 copies, Beautiful front piece by Michael Kaluta. Really nice drawing. And apparently, this is previously unpublished, so you do get some new art. So I imagine this was drawn around 1980, the 80s. We have a contents page, and we have an editorial from Mitch Cohn. And he basically just talks about how, hey, somebody should be doing this. Well, why not us? There's all this great shit that's nobody's ever really seen. So we start off with Alien by Jeffery-Catherine Jones. This is written by Bill Pearson, though I should mention. The art is by Jones. We just looked at this comic maybe less than a year ago in Wits End number 6. But of course, I'll flip through it again so you can look at this gorgeous art. So this is from, what year is this? This is from 1969. That's when that Wits End was published. And even, Jeffery-Catherine Jones was so young at that point, but just so good already. This story is just kind of, I don't know, it's kind of nonsense, but it's not nonsense, but it's not that great. But look at this, just the beautiful, the body language of this character. Jones is already so good. So this guy's on an alien planet. These various hostile creatures attack him. It seems like there's these vines that are the dominant life force on this planet. They choke out this pterodactyl-looking thing, save him in a way. So we're just like, what's the hell's going on? All the alien creatures have this interesting language font. I've never seen this before. It's kind of neat. Definitely looks before its time. He didn't see much. It looks very computery. This giant worm attacks him. He runs away. And then it seems like the vines grab him. And then he gets into a spaceship. He calls out to his fellow Earthmen and says, hey, I found a safe landing spot. So many great panels on this. Really nice stuff. And then I gotta be honest, I don't think I'm that dumb. I think just the story isn't told that well. But what I gleaned from this ending is that the vines have taken him over, infected his brain, so now he's luring his fellow Earthmen into a trap. And look at his weird-looking face there. And now he's speaking that alien language with the weird font. So I guess he's been taken over by the vines? I don't know. But who really cares? This art is just so nice. This one's great. The Last Hunters. And this is by Berni Wrightson. He wrote and drew it. This is from 1971. This was somebody put out like a fanzine collection of Berni Wrightson's stuff called Bad Time Stories. And once again, very young man. This is before he started working for DC, or around the same time. He's already so good. Though I gotta say, I hate that logo. It's a terrible logo. I guess that's why Berni Wrightson's not known for his lettering and calligraphy. So it's a poisoned planet in the far-off future. Earth is just a cesspool. The oceans are black, bilious black slime. The few remaining Earth people are these weird-looking guys. This is what humans have mutated into to survive this poisonous world. And we see them attempting to hunt some sea creatures. So nice, all of this. Some acid rains come, they run into their caves, some of them die. Just basically life is just this meaningless, pathetic, day-to-day survival. It's almost like ridiculous. It's like, why would you even want to live? But, survival instinct. We see a pregnant female. She gives birth to another dead baby. Apparently more and more babies are being born dead. So this is the last of humanity, basically, and they're getting less every year. So it looks like humanity's almost done. And then all of a sudden, this guy shows up in a sleek kind of metal and plastic uniform that protects him from the elements. And he starts mowing them all down. He kills them all with his laser rifle. And then he puts them in his vehicle and drives back to this gleaming city. Apparently the last bit of civilization on Earth. Everything's very high-tech and sci-fi inside. Turns out he's a hunter. And he goes to his trophy room, and we see all of these mounted heads. He's been killing them all. And when he takes off his, uniform, he's a robot. And he has no idea that, never knowing, never caring, that upon his wall hung the last vestiges of humanity that had spawned him. Pretty bleak story. So now we have Apprenticeship by Michael Kaluta. This originally appeared at Abyss #1, published in 1970. It was actually, I would love to get my hands on this. It was a fanzine that had Jones, Kaluta, and Wrightson in it, and Bruce Jones, the other Jones. And if you guys have watched my channel, you know I'm a big fan of Bruce Jones stuff. So we just looked at, it was about 2 years ago, but this was an Epic Illustrated. They reprinted this in the early 80s, I believe. So it's kind of a Sorcerer's Apprentice tale. It's a funny, cute little tale. And it's interesting. It has this weird little border. Kaluta did that a lot back then in his fanzine days. We'll see another story that does that. Really nice, interesting design. I don't even know if is that Art Deco? I don't think so. It's just its own thing. So these little kids are in sorcery school. The headmaster gets called away. One of the kids, he goes into the headmaster's book and summons some demons. Doesn't really know what he's doing. So then he's got to send them all back. And he sends them all back. Even the smell of brimstone is gone, and smoke and sulfur. And so he's like, ooh, I got away with it. But then the teacher comes back and he sits right on a little pixie and looks at the kid like, uh-oh. That's very un-Kaluta-like to me. It almost looks like actually Dave Stevens. It's very nice, very well drawn. But you can totally see every other panel, though. You can see it's Kaluta. It's very Kaluta-y. Kaluti? Once again, this is another story we looked at about a year ago. This is Jeffery-Catherine Jones. It's called Death. This was in the solo one-man anthology underground comic of Jones's work, Spasm. So if you want to, look at this in more depth, there's not really much depth to this story. But if you want to look at it again, just look up my Spasm video, Spasm number 1. It's very kind of almost poetic, And then Death shows up. Before I continue with the plot, look how sketchy this is for Jones. But, I mean, look at that leg there. It's just like a bunch of scribbles. But Jones is such a good artist, even then, that Jones, it all looks great. Like he knows anatomy, form, drawing wrinkles. He's such a master that he can just scribble stuff. It's like, oh, okay, that's the basic form that you need. To convey this visual information. Did I miss something I want to say? I kind of like this line. It's a very kind of almost pretentious strip. And this guy says, I didn't expect you here now. He says to Death. And Death says, I'm always here now. Because Death is always around. And basically Death starts leeching this guy's life out. He's like, stop it. You're aging me. Look how just scant that is. Just a few lines. Almost looks like Alan Moore here, if he was skinnier. The world ends 1,000,000 times a day and never ends at all. So it's almost like Jones is this is pre-Idol, those strips that were kind of almost philosophical. And at the end, I have no idea what the hell's going on. He says, you're not Death. I've missed some things, but I haven't missed it all. And then we see him. It looks like he's died. It's gobbledygook. But here's another example of that. Look at that. Just a few lines. But you totally get the sense of his robe, flowing robe. Once again, this strip, The Gardener, this was published in a 1970 fanzine called This Is Legend #1. But we also saw this in Epic Illustrated. I think it was somewhere in the teens of Epic. Maybe like number 14, something like I can't remember exactly. Once again, a very elaborate border. Well, at least more elaborate than the last one. And I really like this story. It's not much plot. It's just this guy, this gnome, I think he is. He's raised this princess. I guess the king and queen, at birth said, this guy's going to teach you, I don't know what he teaches her, but they thought it was important that she be raised by him. And at her 16th birthday, she's to be returned to the palace. And she's kind of a spoiled little brat. And this old gnome obviously has this fatherly or even grandfatherly affection for her. Just like, oh, don't worry, sweetie. There's a lot of fun things in the palace. It's beautiful. You're going to love it there. Because she doesn't want to go back. Look how nice this is. Kaluta. That almost looks like Jones, though. It could be. Maybe they were helping each other out in their studio. And then he drops her off. He can't go. He's got to return to the forest. And he says, flowers grow around the palace, many more around the wall. But in all their earthly beauty, she'll be the fairest of them all. So even though he didn't imply it, he's very sad. I love this little cart pulled by the snail. Just a nice little story. This is a great one. King of the Mountain Man. And once again, Berni Wrightson. And this is also from that Bad Time Stories. This is some amazing art. And this was kind of interesting because we've been looking at the Journey comic. And I was like, this guy could be a villain in a Journey comic. He's this mountain man. The very beginning of the story, he's killing his partner. Or some guy he's hooked up with. And he's like, God damn it, you've been eating all the food, drinking all the booze, keeping everything to yourself, even the toilet paper. Look at this, just perfect early 70s Wrightson. He's already got it down in 1970. And I guess he even inherits This guy's Indian bride. But then everything goes south. Oh, I'm sorry. He also says, oh, and I even got his dog. The dog attacks him. Look at him stomping this dog. We see an eyeball, all his blood. So as you can tell, this is kind of played for laughs. This is a kind of funny story. I mean, gruesome, but funny. The woman here is almost going to puke. She's trying to knock Ralph up. So he says, we're going to need some food. Tries to shoot the steer. His gun explodes in his face. That's very Yosemite Sam right there. What in the ding-dong hell happened? So he jumps on the gun. He's like, you piece of crap. So he's like, when we get to town, we're going to take this gold dust. We get us a new gun and get us, we're going to live high in the hog. He just passed me one of those bottles. I guess they have a whole box of liquor, which I don't know if frontiersmen actually did that. And every bottle is like bad. It's all the I didn't know that was a thing. All this alcohol is turned, I guess. Here we see a montage of him trying every bottle, getting angrier and angrier. He smashes all the bottles. They finally make it to town. God, that's so nice. Almost like Jack Davis. So great. Look at that. That's very Jack Davis too. So, God, I just realized now how much Jack Davis is in this. So he goes to the assessor's office. Turns out his gold dust is worthless. He tries to start a ruckus, and there's bouncers there, which makes sense. It's a gold office. And they beat the crap out of him. Look at these great, kind of funny sound effects here. God, he draws this woman so beautifully, just so well. Using a little zipatone shading. They kick him out on his ass. And he's sitting there saying, God, everything's gone wrong. The dog, the booze, the gun. But then he realizes, well, at least I got one thing. I got this hot lady. And he says, take off your clothes. And I still don't get this ending. I've read this before. In fact, if I have shown this off before, pardon me. I can't remember. I know I've read this story somewhere, but I don't remember where. And she takes off her clothes. We see her from behind. And then he says, oh, Lord, this just ain't been my day. And he walks off with his head down. And we see the woman looking at him just like with just no real emotion on her face. So does she, even though we can't see it, does she have a penis or something? Or no vagina? I don't understand this gag. Take off your clothes. She does. And then he's just like, oh. So I don't know. But who cares? This art is amazing. I love this silent series of panels of his expressions on his face. So now we have As Night Falls. See, As Night Falls is a collection of song cycles, including the Dream Spinner, Whispers, and the classic Moonrise. Here we present a selection from Moonrise, the ninth song in the cycle, Michelle's Song. I think that's just an artifice to draw some comics. I love this first panel, just this it's very kind of crude logo, but it just looks great to me. It's, I don't, almost like an old children's book. So once again, Michael Kaluta, and this appeared in Reality Number 2, another fanzine. And let me see the date on this. Oh, it doesn't have a date. Maybe it does. Oh, sorry, 71. Really nice art. This is like Kaluta really channeling his Al Williamson, his love of those EC science fiction comics. So these are very poetic. All at once the sky turned white, the stars drew pale in far off sight. 'Twas then the summer's lamp arose to wake the shadows of the night. And it's not much, just beautiful art. We see these little, imps under this mushroom, and the moon comes out. A gilded globe with eyes and nose and great white teeth with which to bite. In truth, he scared us to our toes. I like the way he draws the moon. It's almost like a fine injure or something. Here's the second part. And this one apparently is unknown where it was printed. They don't know. So all these are about like the moon. So this one we see this cute little fairy, and she's flying around. And she looks up at the moon, and the moon is like green, and she sees this beautiful city arising from the moon. I really like that image. And on it, built from fantasy, my mind a palace made. So to my heart 'twas plain to see, my dreams would never fade. It's not the best poetry. It's very like classic romantic type stuff. Now this one's interesting. This was published in Phase Number 1. Another fanzine from that time, 1971. Look at this art style. I've never seen Kaluta do this. He's just using the pencil, I believe. To be honest, I don't really like these 4 panels that much. This technique of his, I love his line work, you know. And this is this woman. She's restless late at night. She looks out the window. See, now look at this though. This is nice. That she sees the moon kind of highlighting a ship that drove through the ocean. Was sailing through the ocean. And there I saw upon the deck a man both lean and tall. A spinner in his purple cloak was spinning dreams for all. The next thing she knows it, morning has come. She raises her head. And she says, for all I could remember, then I'd never left the bed. So it was all just a dream. Like I said, not much content in these. Or interesting content, I should say. And so now we have Deja Vu by Jones. And this was also published in Spasm. Once again, really sparse line work. Like she now, Jeffery-Catherine Jones, it looks like she's really just like batting this out. Maybe there's a deadline. And this one is just doggerel. This is crap. Not doggerel, I'm sorry. It's worthy of a dog's poetry skills. It's not really poetry. That's why it's not doggerel. But it's just this guy lands on a planet. He says, oh, this feels like I've done this before. It's this beautiful planet where humanity could maybe settle. And then it all happens again. It all seems so familiar. The French had a word for it. Deja vu. Pretty dumb. I like this thing, though, this way to describe the universe. The narrator says he had a wild theory then about the universe as a fourth dimensional record that had been scratched, so it got stuck occasionally. So like an interesting way to describe deja vu. I really like that they did this. They tell you where all these things come from. That's how I could tell you. So I wish more, things that reprint other things would do this. It's very useful to me as a scholar, as a comic book scholar. I appreciate it. And here we have a beautiful drawing by Michael Kaluta from '79. This one has a date. God, that's nice as hell. This amazing tree. So good. Get ready, guys. This is worth the price of admission. I've seen this before in like Bud Plant catalogs, when I was a little kid, published this big. And I was always like, oh, that looks so good. And this is Jeffery-Catherine Jones. It's called Sleep. And it was, I guess, in one of those Dragon's Dream books from 1979, Flights of Icarus. Dragon's Dream was that amazing publisher. They put out the studio book that featured all these guys plus Barry Windsor-Smith. They did like books on Roger Dean. In fact, I think Roger Dean was a co-owner. Beautiful Rick Griffin book they have out. If you can ever find anything by Dragon's Dream, their production values were just fucking gorgeous. They're all totally out of print, obviously, and they're all just like super rare because they're just great books, and all the collectors want them. So that's what this is from. Look at this, like, I don't know, is this pre-Raphaelite? Is that what you call this kind of style? Like, I don't know much of that. Rossetti? I don't know. I think he was maybe one of those guys. But just gorgeous. Look at this. Ah, so nice. So I never owned that book. I think this might have been in one of a portfolio too. Because I remember seeing this, not like this though. I remember seeing this as a little kid in catalogs and stuff and being like, wow, that looks really good. So nice. So there you go, guys. If you ever see this, I bet it wouldn't be expensive. I don't think anyone cares about this. It's all reprint, mostly reprint. But it's a damn nice collection if you don't have all the original stuff. And, you know, I have like 3 or 4 of these reprinted somewhere else. But, damn, it's still nice to have it all collected. And the stories I don't have. Those Berni Wrightson stories I don't have anywhere. So that alone's worth the price of admission as well. So hope you guys like looking at this. And I hope you can find it. I totally suggest you pick it up. And I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.